we interrupt this news bulletin to bring you an important message. Or this program? That doesn't make any sense. We interrupt this regularly scheduled broadcast to bring you some important news. There we go. I got it out there. My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology, the Titans action. This is why I don't venture away from my opening remarks. Spawning in the bottom side of the map in the red color, playing as Oranos. His name is Hagrit. His opponent today playing the devil herself, Gaia. His name is Grassengroom. Grassengroom versus Hagrit. It's currently 2-1 in this best of 5 series. So Hagrit's on match point. If Hagrit can win this game, he gets the pleasure of going on to face another incredibly strong player in the next round. Unfortunately for the winner, the next round is still only best of 5. You have to win the next round as well to get onto the best of 7s. And that's when the tournament starts getting to the nitty gritty, where the larger the player pool, the larger the god pool the player has, the better their chances of winning really becomes here. As Hagrit doing everything here. So he does get the Oranos versus Gaia matchup. Now, we have seen this matchup once already in this tournament at the highest level, which was a Shadowfax versus Chemo game. However, that game was definitely stunted by the map spawn. Oh, maybe stunted is the wrong word, but the game was definitely taken out of its natural progression because of the very, very limited amount of room that the armies can move through each other because of the Jotunheim-esque spawn. So that's something to be relatively aware of here, and we'll think about how this game's going to proceed. Now, beyond all of that, in said Shadowfax versus Chemo, Gaia versus Oranos, we didn't see Chemo going for Helios, which is, in my opinion, the meta Mythic Age choice in this matchup. So maybe Hagrit is aware of that. Maybe Hagrit's going to go for Hecate nonetheless. It really just depends on if you can see a decent enough Tartarian Gate position. But the problem is that most of the time, the Gaia player is going to be going through Thea. And Thea is a hard counter to Tartarian Gate in a really big way, because you can just use your Stympalian birds to take down the opposing player's Tartarian Gate. No problems where that's considered. Alrighty, onwards and upwards. So we've got ourselves some relics in the middle of the map. We do have the head of Orpheus. It's an extra 8 building line of sight here. We did see this relic in the last game, but unfortunately not so much usage out of it. And on the top side of the map, we've got the mithril horseshoes. Unfortunately, while that relic is technically an S tier relic, it doesn't really have much place in this matchup because Contarius don't really get used. Not only that Contarius don't really get used, but they also come in the heroic age, so the speed doesn't really matter all too much because they're not going to be doing a lot of raiding unless you do make hero Contarius, and in which case they start being pretty decent. Very good. Alrighty. So, Prometheus on the way, Leto on the way here for Grassengroom. No real surprises here. There is a world in which Oceanus makes a little bit of sense for the Gaia player. The idea being that you can get yourself an advantage with the Caladria and the little thing, the thing that goes Carnivora. But it's much easier to get. It's much easier to slow the Oranos player down with Leto. You also get the big advantage of having automatons, which means that for the Oranos player to really want to commit to a fight, he has to actually win the fight. If he doesn't completely win the fight and has to retreat, then the automatons can rebuild themselves, and the Gaia player will actually come out with an advantage where that's going to be concerned. So as we do see Hagrid hitting the classical age right now, and so too will Grassengroom, the big question becomes, how does Oranos really get an advantage in this matchup if he can't really attack his opponent? And that's going to be what we're going to have to wait here and see what Hagrid's going to be going for here. As we see the immediate the immediate spider lair getting dropped on this location. I'm not exactly sure what this spider lair is going to be defending against. Normally we see those spider lairs getting dropped on things like second gold mines, on your food situation. Over here as we see the Terma and the military barracks coming through, how the armory or the economic upgrades looking. Just pickaxe is going straight up to shaft mine here. It's actually really, really interesting from Grassengroom. Normally we see pickaxe, hand axe, and then maybe shaft mine, but Grassengroom says, nope, shaft mine first. Gonna grab that one first and then just be spamming out automatons really, really fast here, as he does have himself now 3 citizen on the gold and maybe just 2 villagers on the wood. And the big thing here is that Gaia forest trees gather 7% faster, so it's almost as if Grassengroom gets himself a free hand axe here. And if we take a quick look at what Hagrit's economy is, Hagrit does have himself hand axe himself, also has pickaxe. So in terms of the decisions which Grassengroom has made here, Grassengroom comes out with a big economic advantage early because of that early shaft mine and the need to have a little bit more gold than otherwise. Now, he's also getting himself husbandry, jumping onto these pigs. It's a very, very low hunt map yet again, as everyone has to be eating their berries and everything. And this really does benefit the Gaia a lot more than the Oranos for a variety of reasons. Normally, the Oranos, the Atlantean, does have the most advantage on low hunt maps, but Gaia gets the big advantage. And the big reason is simply just because you can get flood control in the classical age. So if the Gaia player can force some fights, some good fights, then trick the Oranos player into fighting them, then you can actually come out with a significant advantage, as we are seeing those Terma going to town here. Beautiful micro from Hagrit there, actually able to completely dismantle this army that Grassengroom has assembled just by pulling those Terma back nicely. Beautiful play there, and Grassengroom loses the first automaton. He has to retreat back. He's going to be able to repair those ones back up here, but really, at this point, there's no reason for Grassengroom to leave his base. Just stay in your base, live the dream, you're going to be fine. Hagrit over here apparently forgot to build a citizen or something. He might have been house, I don't know. But we are seeing him moving forward. Maybe going to think about grabbing a second town center or throwing some buildings down, jumping onto the 2 deer in the middle of the map. It's a very low amount of deer, but they are there. And then we'll see how this game is going to continue, as this stray goat is going to be making the impossible journey home. He'd have to swing around here, come through here, and then come through here to get all the way back to his base. Or alternatively, just put him into the corner. As we do see Hagrit dropping down that second town center. Personally, I don't like second town center in this matchup. I think that I don't think it makes as much sense as, say, in a Greek matchup. And the reason being is because farms are a lot better for Atlantean than they are for everyone else, and there's tons of goat here. If there was like no goat, I'd go, yeah, grab a second town center, but plenty of goat here to be eaten up. Can definitely see a one town center sort of semi-fast mythic working here, as Grassengroom is going to be pushing out, trying to catch out this army, getting a little bit of damage done. As we do see the spider eggs coming down on this position. Will they drop fast enough? It doesn't look like they will. So no free kills there for Grassengroom, as he does see that town center up. Might decide to take this fight here. He does have himself some decent units. The spider eggs, unfortunately, not going to be enough of a help here, as Hagrit's going to be retreating away. Grassengroom's got 90 population to Hagrit's 76. So this timing that Grassengroom has found is going to be absolutely brutal here, as Hagrit's going to be retreating away. And we do see the units ready to start pushing in. A couple of Promethean, or a Promethean has come through. The Chiroballister in right now for Hagrit, as Grassengroom trying to retreat away. We will see this automaton basically getting sniped away there. That's a big win there for Hagrit. Hagrit's still getting this town center up. 93 population. Hagrit's managed to catch up on population, as Grassengroom hasn't gotten in to really attack fast enough. And it looks as if even if Grassengroom takes this fight, there's a shockwave to be used, and Grassengroom going to be hurting quite significantly here. I don't think Grassengroom is playing this this meta correctly by going for these fights so haphazardly. He does turn around onto this bulk of units. They're going to get a good trade while his While he does get himself medium infantry as well. Over on this position, we do see the Promethean getting taken down. The town center gets up just before that Murmillo starts attacking there, as the units are going to be running straight over the spider lair that Hagrid did see get thrown up here. We'll see another Murmillo getting taken out. So 3 Murmillos there for Grassengroom, but Grassengroom right now in a little bit of trouble because he is down at town center. He's at 101 population. Sharp line coming through for Hagrid. But Grassengroom, does he have the economic advantage here? No, he doesn't even have hand axe right now. So he is going all out on this army, and I think Hagrid's kind of made some better decisions than I would have thought initially here, because he gets the town center up and he baits the army in because of that. Had Grassengroom scouted this town center going up, cut units and just rushed heroic age or rushed mythic age, I think this could be a whole different story, because in reality, there's nowhere for Hagrid to attack, so that mythic age timing is going to be absolutely brutal. But Grassengroom going for a town center here instead. Handful of units on the backside, and Hagrid's just going to say, what is happening here? What is happening? I'm ready to start attacking you, and that's just the way that the cookie crumbles, as Grassengroom on the main base of Hagrid going after this. This town center is not going to be going up. The citizen, do they have channels? They don't have channels. So these are some fat citizen. They haven't been doing their exercises, and they really don't move as fast as they could. All they got to do is put some effort in, get the steps in. All you got to do is get the steps in every day. Just keep building on your personal goals every day. Compare yourself to yourself yesterday and be better. That's the way of the world here, as we do see the Caraballas are coming in. And Grassengroom will return back onto this town center, but the Hagrid Oracle is scouting that one out, as Grassengroom still wandering around this snowy pine looking for something to do. But Hagrid is yet again saying, nope, not today. No town center for you. So one thing that Grassengroom could try here is all-inning this town center as the army is on the move over here, but Hagrid smartly just going to start harassing this down. Grassengroom not paying attention. He's going to get absolutely surrounded. That's 2 citizen kills right now, potentially 2 citizen kills, as the other one does retreat back. Probably might live here. It's going to be close. Yeah, it lives there with 66 HP, and the town center gets prevented yet again here, as the automaton does go down. And now Grassengroom swinging around, as we do see those Caraballas taking out a stray Murmillo there, and we will be seeing a handful of automatons getting taken down as well, as Hagrid's now got a significant advantage, and Hagrid's simply just going to click up to the next age very, very shortly. He's prevented the town center from going up, and there is kind of next to no way the Grassengroom gets this town center up now. It's 130 population. It's Caraballas. There's next to no Caraballas for Grassengroom. There's a shockwave potentially on the way. Maybe with some cheeky Gaia forest placement, it might be a different story here. So we see a unit getting taken out, and Grassengroom will retreat back as his town center does get deleted. Farms coming up over here. How is the economic upgrades going? Grassengroom within the Gaia plow right now. He needs to get himself irrigation. He needs to get himself flood control to find those advantages right now. As Hagrid, has he got his armory up? Oftentimes, yeah, he does have his armory up over here, and he will be advancing very, very shortly. He does decide Hyperion is the god of choice, which I think is a slight mistake here. The idea being that you want Thea for the Stymphalian birds to make sure you can take out your opponent's Tartarian gate if there's any sort of timing where that's concerned. And technically, Grassengroom being one town center, he should be able to chase. He should be able to get to the Mythic Age first. So technically, you should be playing based on what your opponent should be able to do. But the Hyperion going to be strong regardless here, I would assume. As this town center coming up for Hagrid, he wants to take the forward town center right now. As the units do spot this this citizen here, and the shockwave just comes in and says, "Get out of here! No point! Get out of here!" And Hagrid going to continue getting that town center up here. Copper Shields and Bowsaw now coming through for Hagrid. as he's moving forward, getting some good damage done. Grassengroom swinging down to the bottom side of the map. We do have towers up for Hagrid. He doesn't have crenellations, but they should be able to help out just a little bit here as the term are going to retreat or return back onto this location here. Could see a fairly strong usage of Chaos just getting dropped down onto this position, hitting an Automaton, hitting some Milo. Could be a good usage of that God Power straight away. As Hagrit throwing up his market as well. Going to be trying to race to the Mythic Age. And we'll see if he does go for Hecate or if he goes for something else, as we do see that Chaos does get dropped. The Stymphalian Bird doesn't get hit there, so a little bit of luck there for Grassengroom, though the odds were in his favor. As Hagrit tries to push in, gets hit by the spider eggs. And the medium terma are indeed getting taken out as Grassengroom just about to be able to click up. So Hagrit is in a bit of a worrying position here because the Tartarian Gate can do tons of damage. It's been known to do tons of damage in this matchup if you don't have either Siege, Stymphalian Birds, or Helios, Hecagigantes. But I feel like Hagrid's going to be able to advance fairly soon. So he's got his farm set up, his full population. He's doing fine. We are seeing Hecate through for Grassengroom, so it's a tough one. And we do have a Oracle on this position, but these units need to move forward and see what they can do here. As now we see the Carabal's getting some really good damage done onto this position as Hagrid is trying to continue the pressure. He's getting himself Jamino right now for his Satyr. That gives the bonus special attack damage and I think some extra HP or something like that. I always forget these upgrades. It's a really strong upgrade. It's one of those few special upgrades that you should definitely get. Yeah, 3 more spears with the special attack. So if you take a look at what the special attack does, 3 projectiles, 22 pierce each. So now they're throwing 6 projectiles, 22 pierce each, which effectively doubles the damage of that special ability and can kill off a whole bunch of units because it's a splash damage kind of vibe. As Grassengroom retreating back, we do see that this town center is attempting to come up for Hagrid, but is getting denied. Hagrid decided to turn around and shank this one down a little bit. It would be funny if he went for like a hero citizen or something here. Hecate now on the way for Hagrid. Why go Hecate? I don't understand. We see the that's disappointing there for Grassengroom. He wants to hit that temple with his Tartarian Gate. We see irrigation coming through for Hagrid. But right now Hagrid's going to be going up to 4 town centers fairly shortly, I would assume. And the Tartarian Gate does get dropped here. So the answer here for Hagrid is probably as simple as just retreat back. Probably as simple as just retreat back to the Tartarian Gate and take that out and give Grassengroom whatever he needs. Grassengroom needs to push back here. He's so far behind that it doesn't really matter here for Hagrid, but you see the town center coming up as well. The unit's pushing through. There is a destroyer or 3 here actually. So he will be able to take down the palace and continue his move forward. The question is, where do you really put a Tartarian Gate in Grassengroom's base? Like here, I guess? Here is like the only option, which is why I'm like, just do something else. We are seeing the units just going to ignore those Tartarian spawns. Completely normal to do that. Some citizens are getting taken down. So Grassengroom's kind of Tartarian Gate is getting value here as the buildings are getting destroyed. We'll see if Grassengroom can make some progress here to get his town center back, or at least level the playing field just a little bit as the Tartarian Gate goes down. Send the where's the Stymphalian? Did he lose it? Send the Stymphalian Bird back, build a ton of them, and then you can kill off your opponent's Tartarian Gate with Stymphalian Birds. As we do see Hagrit moving in onto this position, he will be dropping that Tartarian Gate down here. It's the only real place that makes any sense. As his Terma is currently just hanging out. No, not placing the gate down. Just And he's going to lose the Terma with no Tartarian gate. Sad days. All too standard. That happens so often. I don't know why. It just seems to be whenever people hit the Mythic Age with Hecate, they forget that casting it immediately is the best way to use it. But in this moment right now, Hagrit's managing to push back without having to use it at all. And we are seeing some Fire Siphon coming in for Grassengroom, which might be a little bit too early. Unlike the Greek Wars, these Fire Siphons, they only deal 55 crush damage, which is something like one damage per second to the units, which is really not that much. So they're not the best unit to be utilizing in the army, unless you got somewhat of an advantage in this matchup for the most part, or if you're set up with buildings. So he's going to be retreating back. As the units do come in, this sneaky citizen making its way back to the home base. Grassengroom still without channels. Grassengroom definitely showing that just because you're an Oranos player doesn't mean that you can play Gaia here. You're getting a lot of those key upgrades. As some Gontarius are coming in onto this position to try and take down the Satyr. That hero, Gontarius, does get eliminated very, very fast. Hagrit's still not grabbing this town center back. A little bit short on the resources here as he's trying to spam out as much as he possibly can. As we see a very, very tough road ahead of Grassengroom in this game, as there's just too many units to push through. He's got the same quality of units as Hagrit. He just has less of them. So you are also seeing Hagrit now building his own Fire Siphon. Now you can use Fire Siphon to kill your opponent's Fire Siphon, which isn't a bad idea, as we finally see the Tartarian gate getting dropped on this position. And in that moment, Grassengroom does indeed resign. And unfortunately for Grassengroom, his road in this tournament has come to an end. Hagrit going to be happy about it, though. He's managed to find a victory here. Goes on to the next round. Gets to continue his journey. But Grassengroom, better luck next time. Hagrit with a fairly solid game here. I think that Grassengroom definitely had the map in his favor here. If he had thought a little bit about Gaia's strategy against Oranos in the moment, he would have gone, all right, bang, as soon as I see that second town center, great. I'm just going to sit on my base for the entire game, try and get Mythic Age as fast as I can, chuck the Tartarian gate down, and then push out. That's the play here on a low hunt map like this, because you have flood control farms. You get to the Mythic Age way, way earlier than your opponent, who doesn't have that available. Also, you have the herdables. And one thing that I want to point out here, and I think that players should start doing it a lot more, is researching plow before you start farming. The point being that if you can research plow first, then you start farming, then at the point that you do start farming, often it's in the heroic age. Now, this might not be in this map, but if you were playing Gaia in this situation, it would be applicable. But the idea being that you're on your herdables, you research plow, you go to farms, you research irrigation, and you're immediately on irrigation when you start farming. And then that lack of resources that it feels that comes in is completely shot out. And I feel like that's a decent idea here for Gaia, indeed. But neither here nor there, because Grassengroom ends up falling in this series. If you guys enjoyed this game and enjoyed this series, please consider hitting the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTube, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next game.